Hello, hello, hello! We are getting ready to get started. So, get your drinks. If you've got a fashionable trilby, put it on to get yourself in the mood. Install a sepia tone overlay to your eyes so that you are ready for this. The preview image that you see here on the screen, this is the color scheme that we're going to be using for the game. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but my eyes are the most important, and this one is the easiest on them, so suck it up or get flux. Nerd is showing either great disrespect to me or to the game that he's playing by doing both at the same time, and I'm looking at him very pointedly while I'm saying this, and he's smiling guiltily on the couch. I'll show the colors when I get in, but this is the one that we're going to use, just for the record. Basically, if you're unfamiliar with the game, there is exactly one color. Two technically, but it's black and white, and that only counts as one color. So, as you can see, there is all kinds of dithering, and it's a little bit hard on the eyes, and I hope that you like it. Dithering was not necessarily designed for 3D models in mind, and so Lucas Pope, the solo dev of this game, Return to the Obra Dinn, actually had to create new dithering algorithms in order to render this game. So I hope that you enjoy that. My other favorite little tidbit about Return to the Obra Dinn that I'm going to share now, because I'm not going to be able to share it in character, is that there is a couple of sketches of the people in the game that you use to help identify them. And the way that he drew one of the sketches is that he put all of the models in this scene, and then while his character was in the scene, he then sat down and drew the picture from the scene that he made in the game. And it's actually really, really cool. And if you don't think that's cool, get the fuck out. So I hope that you enjoyed that fun fact. The other fun fact is that this game is extensively researched and very, very historically accurate. The voice acting is all phenomenal. But there is one concession away from accuracy, and that is that a ship the size of the Obra Dinn would probably have a crew of about 100 to 120 people. And obviously, that's a little bit much for a solo dev. So, all right. All that said, I'm going to play my trailer, and then we are going to get started with the game. Oh, I hope you're back soon, Curve. The Obra Dinn waits for no man. Just look away. Let's turn the sound to not off so that you guys can actually hear it, though I'm sure everyone here has seen this already.
Welcome to Johnny Dollar in the case of the Obra Dinn. On loan from New York, I'm helping my East India Company counterparts in London with a particularly fishy case. It's time for you to join me aboard the Obra Dinn as I solve the mystery of what happened to its crew and passengers. Feel free to hop in with a, "Hey, Johnny," and a tip, but remember, I'm the professional here. Oh, and one last piece of advice: don't touch anything.
Okay, there we go. So real quick, just before we start, I am going to go through the color selection, though we are going to be using this one. Just because it's really cool. Welcome aboard the Obra Dinn, everyone. Remember, look, but do not touch. You are here on behalf of the East India Company, and it is for the best that you do not interfere with the investigation. You are here to verify my work, and that is all. If you have any questions or comments, you're free to address them to me. However, just remember, it's me, Johnny, that's in charge. The Obra Dinn went missing 5 years ago. There were 60 people on board, crew and some passengers. The ship mysteriously came back, docked here at Falmouth. There's a storm coming in, and with the state the ship is in, we've probably only got 1 day to investigate. No, Guar, you do not get bathroom breaks. That's a lie. Absolutely there will be breaks. Anyway, the ship is probably going to fall apart once the storm hits, so we've got to go quick and we've got to be good. We are here as insurance investigators to make sure that the submitted claims match what actually happened. So, let's begin. I will let you know, in addition to the information that I got from the East India Company, I received a letter from one Henry Evans out of Morocco. He has told me that the happenings here may be a little bit unbelievable, but I'm from New York. I've seen a few things. He's also entrusted me with this pocket watch, which he said will help. How? I don't know, but we'll humor the old man. He was a doctor. You're allowed to eat fish and chips only. And keep the newspaper in your pocket. Don't leave it on the ship. That's tampering with evidence. All right, so see a skeleton here. Already not looking good. Huh. But this watch, it seems to be acting up a little bit. Let's open it up.
Open the door! Kick it in. Ah! Lest we break it down and take more than those shells!
You bastards may take exactly what I give you!
Opening with gunfire. What is this? New Jersey? Oh, well. That's certainly telling. I think I know what happened here. This, my friends, looks like an attempted mutiny. As we heard, they're trying to break down the captain's door to get, shells it seems. I don't know about here in England, but shells aren't really worth much. You know what I'm saying? There's probably a little bit something more to it than this. Oh, what? What is this? It is a 3-man mutiny. Oh, If you would all like to take a look over my shoulder here, we actually have a transcription of that conversation that we just heard. This X, if I may be so bold as to suppose, seems to represent the person who died. This may make it, this may make it a lot easier. You'll just have to deal with the cats. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. This unknown soul met an unknown fate. If you saw the same thing I did, hallucination brought on by this pocket watch with a skull on it, this man was shot by a gun, but his attacker was not unknown. It was indeed the captain. Maybe the watch is possessed by demons. That's all I'll say to that. So, as you see, 3-man mutiny, one going up above, one shot right in the throat, and Mr. Hat here, with his ascot, looking on. Alright, let's move on. I don't know if all of you noticed this, but this door now appears to be open. Not only that, but it has a sort of ghostly pallor to it. Let's go inside. We have 2 more bodies here. This one with the rather unfashionable hat we saw outside. And this one over here. Curiouser and curiouser. Well, let's see the result of this mutiny after our first friend was shot in the throat.
Where are they? Must be in here someplace.
They're at the bottom of the sea.
That's a lie.
I'm afraid I will be keeping the magical watch. So, well, it looks like he did get a hit in on the captain, but his throat has been thoroughly cut out. Also, Captain Sir, why are you shirtless? Where is the decorum here? I understand it's a mutiny, but you could still be properly dressed. Also, what happened to that fellow that was going above? Here's our friend the corpse. So he was coming up these stairs. Oh. I think I saw a hint of him there. This unknown soul had its throat cut. With a knife. I would say that's knifed. You have to be very specific with the East India Company. Our office is in New York. Ugh, the paperwork. You don't want to know what I'm going to have to deal with when I get home. And no, there are no puns allowed in this investigation. Absolutely not. Knife to meet you, Captain. The disrespect. I definitely see something there. Let's see if we can see it from inside the captain's quarters. Don't mind the blood. Aha! Our friend is here. Ah, and there's the captain's gun. As you may or may not know, gentle folks all, these guns, they can't fire more than one shot all too quickly. Need to be reloaded, and even then it might jam. That's why our friend the captain here went for a more intimate weapon. But, let's continue. Now, is anyone still trapped in the hallucination? Because if you are, we can wait. No? Alright, moving on. Did the captain finally get his due? He's got no shirt on, so perhaps. Those were some very unpleasant sounds. So we could hear our second friend choking to death on his own blood, lovely as that is, but it seems the captain is still standing. This fellow here, clubbed right in the face, bonked on the skull, dead on impact. Though he did get a knife in on the captain. Is he gonna bleed out? Who knows? Pretty soon we will. Oh, let's see this. An open door. There is already a body in the bed. And if I am not mistaken, judging by the hair, this is most likely a woman. Bad luck at sea. You, sir, were clubbed by Captain Robert Whittrell. Would you like to keep a bonk counter? You are welcome to keep a bonk counter. Not very pleasant. She does seem to already be deceased at the time that we are seeing. Mind the blood. We can go check. As you see, this door is open. Again, it has a ghostly pallor. Here is another corpse. And here... I do think that she is gone. I'm sorry. She is gone. Let's see to this one first.
Abigail, your brother, my friend, I shot him dead.
Of course, you didn't shoot him alive.
I'll be with you soon, my love. Please forgive me for everything.
Well, the sounds that you just heard were unmistakably him reloading the flintlock. So the captain has committed suicide. A sad end, but he did just murder 3 men. So what can we say? And here is the body, much less skeletalized. I think that we can suppose that the captain, in the captain's quarters, next to the captain's bed, was speaking to his wife, so named Abigail. But he very pointedly said, for everything. I'm sorry for everything. Not just murdering her brother, whom he shot dead, but everything. Which leads us to question, what else is the everything? This is, undoubtedly, Captain Robert Wittrell. Wearing a shirt. But trust me. He does have the beard. Captain Robert Wittrell. He committed suicide. Abigail, your brother, my friend, I shot him. Dead. So we witnessed the captain shoot someone. Do you suppose... Excuse me, thank you. Do you suppose that the person he shot was Abigail's brother? He was shot. Unknown soul. Well, where is Miss Abigail? Abigail Hoscut Wittrell from Scotland. I don't know about you, but Hoscut doesn't sound much like a middle name to me. Let's look at the roster here, and right there we see William Hoscut, first mate, also of Scotland. So, your brother, also shot, also from Scotland. This is most likely William Hoscut. Oh, Abigail. What a sad end you must have met. I suppose that's what we'll be seeing next. It's strange of this Henry Evans fellow to make people's deaths into chapters. But any method is as good as any other, I suppose. Now for Miss Abigail. Better than the pocket watch, a book writing itself. Sounds like quite a storm. And looks like one. Oh, Miss Wittrell. Absolutely crushed by falling rigging. What a terrible fate. Who is this? Could this perhaps be the Martin to whom she spoke? Yeah, Well, now, this case is interesting. I thought we were just dealing with handful of murders, mutiny, the same old, same old. But here, this, if I am not mistaken, is a kraken. A kraken has attacked the ship. If you must throw up, do it overboard. Fitting title, The Doom. This is Mrs. Abigail Hoscott Wittrell. And she was crushed? Well, supposing it was the Kraken, which it was, perhaps we could say beast here. But the killing blow was dealt by rigging in terms of a technicality. I'll make a note of this. May I remind you that you are talking about a poor deceased woman, and you think that it is appropriate to make jokes at her expense. Let me show you all now that the pocket watch is having a bit of a problem. I will hold to it tightly so that it does not attack any of you. But first, let us examine the scene a little bit more. There seem to be substantially more people alive at this point. This man, who is presumably whom Abigail was speaking, Martin. Another woman. A third woman behind her. This gentleman trying to protect them. Though I must side with him. Why are they coming out of the ship? Though, I suppose the Kraken's tentacles could go through the window, which would be a bit of a problem. And we have here... Oh, this is the gentleman that was taking part in the mutiny. And this is half of a gentleman. This is indeed only the top half of a gentleman. Here, fighting the Kraken, a sword with no owner, unfortunate. This gentleman with the hat appears to be about to lose his arm. Oh, who is this? They are about to be pulled below, if I am not mistaken. Terribly unfortunate. Well, let's see what this is all about. Ah, yes, directing us to this half of a body. Stand back and try not to inhale too deeply. I doubt this is something you want in your lungs. It's a bit strange seeing a spectral corpse out here on the deck. Try not to step on him. He deserves some dignity. Well, I didn't really need to know what it sounded like when a man was torn in half, but I suppose now we all do. Perhaps it is his sword stuck in this tentacle. Terribly unfortunate. But I will say, these tattoos are quite striking. You know, I know an art dealer back in the city. He's from New Guinea. Sharp as a tack, though. When he has those tattoos, he just lets people think whatever they want. Fleeces them absolutely blind. Completely legal, though, no matter how many times I've been sent to investigate him. So, if I had to guess, our friend here is likely also from New Guinea. So, torn in half, torn apart. There we go. Do you think a man could turn someone apart? I don't think so, though it does appear to be an option. We see all kinds of things in this business. But in this case, it was the Kraken. Now, let's see if there was anyone from New Guinea on the ship. Italy. I wonder if he cooked any food, though I suppose he's just a passenger. No, you may not nap on this ship. Persia. New Guinea. Maba. A topman. Topmen are more experienced sailors, and they deal with the rigging. However, you'll normally seem to notice that they're not, shall we say, the same nationality as their employer, because it is also one of the more dangerous positions on the ship. What have we here? That certainly does not look pleasant. Also, of course I can take a mere Kraken with aplomb. Have you been to Jersey? Everything's legal in New Jersey. Death by explosion. Really, quite terrible. And I don't know about you, but that voice sounded quite young. Yes, this fellow here. Now, this is not my first time on a ship, nor should I hope, is it yours. But I bring this up to notice. This young man here, he is wearing the clothes of a midshipman. So, let's keep that in mind. Oh dear. This appears to be his friend, too. Here's Maba with his sword that was later found stuck in the Kraken, so he did get something off before being torn in half, as the case may be. Who Who is this, and how did they die? Let's call this young fellow our young midshipman. Poor boy. Just exploded. So, Maba with his sword. This fellow with an absolute armful of guns. That is not safe weapon handling. But he apparently is about to get his comeuppance from it anyway. Oof. His poor friend, look at that. He's pulling him back. Terrible. Terrible shame. Terrible. Aha. Another door has been opened and now has a ghostly visage. I believe that as we see places open within these shades of the past, we will be able to move further throughout the ship. Which begs the question, is the ship, as we now stand on it, fully intact? Or is it just held together by memories of the lost, asking for the truth to be known? Think about that while we take this break.
Does your little one tug on your slacks and spit up on your spats, begging to play when all you want after a hard day at the plant is to put your feet up with a highball of brandy? There's a new spin on a household item that'll entertain your tyke till the sun comes up. Bread could be a rocket ship, or a funny hat, or a new best friend. There's no limit to what your child can create when they're loafing around with bread. Call now.
Welcome to Johnny Dollar in the case of the Obra Dinn.
So, as is the case with this previous commercial and all the forward ones, the voice acting was done by Loafing Around with Bread, and the sound editing was done by our good friend Ryan Hill of Downhill Media. Links can be found in the Discord, blah, 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 wherever. They'll be made available if you would like to investigate his other works. Now, back to the show. All right, we're going down below. If you get sick, make sure to come back topside and throw up over the edge. Don't pollute the evidence. The gun deck. And, oof. Unfortunate. It must have been difficult to move the body after this unfortunate accident. Oof. Crushed. Absolutely crushed. Spine broken by the cannon. Terrible accident. Oh no, we have our poor, soon-to-be fated midshipman. Everything is all tumbling around. And yes, that is indeed the Kraken outside. This, it appears to be Martin from up above. We see a gentleman and half of a gentleman here on the floor. It seems down below did not fare any better than up above. Martin does have exceptional sea legs. Good call. This poor lad, absolutely crushed by a cannon. Unfortunate. I believe we are being directed to this half of a gentleman over here. Indeed. Martin is the name of the person to whom Abigail was speaking just before her death. She asked him where the captain was. So we believe that he is a gentleman in status as well, because the captain's wife was on a first-name basis with them, and he presumably knew where the captain was, down below. But moving on to how a man loses the top half of his body. Oh, that is how you lose half of your body. Oh, and he had such a stylish hat, too. Most unfortunate. Oh, there it is. There is his hat. Oof. It looks like someone else was crushed by a cannon as well. Oh, there's Maba trying to prep the guns. Our hatted friend who died earlier, or later. I will pet the cat. There you go. I have pet the cat. Corpses! Well, this is certainly interesting. Was shot by a cannon. Now, can any careful observers here tell me who it was that fired the cannon that killed this gentleman? Anyone? Anyone? Well, if you recall, we did take a moment to examine the cannon because there was someone crushed underneath it. But holding the cannon in place, dare I say, aiming it, was the Kraken. This person I did not see at all, so we'll wait on them. You see, the Kraken has taken the cannon and shot that poor man in his terribly fancy hat. Remember, don't breathe in the smoke. Who knows what kind of ectoplasm lingers within? Now, I may just be a Yank, but I am certain that one of those voices was not a native English speaker. And that was the man giving orders. Most likely, the man in the fancy hat. So we'll have to take a look at the crew roster shortly. But yeah, see, this poor fellow crushed between a kraken and a hard place. And here we have Sir Fancy Hat, probably doesn't speak English as a first language, and the other gentleman who disappeared because he was shot first. Oh, and here's the hat. So, between this scene and the next, when we have only half a gentleman left, the one closer to the window, which is also torn apart, has disappeared. I think that he's gone overboard. So let's go forward. Forward. Our friend here went overboard. Fell overboard. There we go. No. Books on a rocking boat. Terrible combination. And you, sir, were crushed by the kraken. You jest, but hats are very important. So let's look at the crew manifest. So he was giving orders, and the gunner and gunner's mate are both from abroad, both from the continent. So we'll have to keep that in mind as we continue. Here we have another ethereal door that is now open. I dare to hope it is better than the man torn in half, though it seems unlikely, given the position of the body. I am a professional, Kerfuz, but thank you for the compliment. This already sounds decidedly unpleasant. Oh, that is his trousers around his knees. That is precisely as horrible as it sounded. Ah, thank you, Bread. I'm just going to... Yeah, none of you saw that as I placed that in my pocket? No? We all... Anyway, this poor gentleman, trousers around his knees, very clearly having some kind of distress. And then the kraken caused considerably more distress. ES. ES. This is not a face. This is not a face. I'm sorry, this is not a face. This companions, is a signature. But we'll get back to that. Oh, oof. He's not enjoying what he's hearing. Oh, oh. It's Martin again. So, let's take a look at this. We have a signature, as Miss Spencer says. Is this the illustrator? Well, we do have two quite lovely, or three pictures here. They were all drawn by someone on the ship, so I would guess that we do have an illustrator. So let's take a look. Artist, Edward Spratt. Yes. Very good, spinster. You might be a good detective after all. So where were we? Edward Spratt was crushed by the Kraken. Let's not record what he was doing when the crushing happened. Preserve the man his dignity and all. So, this is Martin. And this is the young fellow that was crushed by a cannon. And he's carrying 2 plates. Walking a step behind and to the right of Martin. Hold on, hold on. Martin Parrott, third mate. Third mate, as we speculated earlier, high ranking, known to the captain's wife. It fits. It fits. So who would be carrying Martin Parrott's dinner for him? There are only 60 people here, 9 of whom are passengers. So, who's carrying his food? Third mate steward. Do we like this? Does this sound plausible to you? Roderick Anderson, strapping young man of England, crushed by a cannon? I like it. Poor young man. Third mate steward, probably about to move up in the ranks, crushed by a cannon. There you have it. Poor Roderick. Well, that was a very, shall we say, assaulting to the senses sort of memory that we had with Edward Spratt there. So we're going to take just one more quick little break. Guar, did you miss the commercial for real? Do you need to hear it again? Because I can play it again for you. if you did indeed miss it. All right, so we're going to listen to the bread ad again.
Does your little one tug on your slacks and spit up on your spats? Does your little one tug on your slacks and spit up on your spats? Begging to play when all you want after a hard day at the plant is to put your feet up with a highball of brandy? There's a new spin on a household item that'll entertain your tyke till the sun comes up. Bread could be a rocket ship, or a funny hat, or a new best friend. There's no limit to what your child can create when they're loafing around with bread. Call now.
There's nothing to be sorry about. That's why I found a good spot that we could pause really quick so that I could play it again. Yeah, like I said, Bread's voice acting is phenomenal, and Ryan did... Velo, can you refund that? I'll give you a real story later, Lauren. I promise. Anyway, that's why I stopped so quick so that we could replay that for you, Guar. Poor Roderick doesn't know what he's about to face. Also, why don't we take a minute and examine his clothing now that we've confirmed his identity? Because if he's a steward, and the midshipmen were all wearing midshipmen's clothing, maybe the stewards similarly dressed as we would expect and all had similar wear. So if we see anyone else in roughly this garb, we can probably assume they're also a steward, like the fellow back here that we saw listening to poor Edward Spratt's demise. And what do we have here? This is our fellow who was pulled out the window by the Kraken. Now, I don't know if you remember, but this gentleman was yanked out of the rigging by one of the Kraken's tentacles. We had a good look at him up there as his, arms were flailing and legs were akimbo as he was pulled out. And he was above the deck line in the rigging. So it's possible, nay, likely, that he is a topman as well. So let's keep that in mind. Hammocks. What have we here? What is this? 41. Right, someone make a note of this. 41. This is a very unique sword, don't you think? This scimitar, not particularly English, well, unless, we're looking at the whole Commonwealth and all of the people that your great country is. Anyway. 48, 49, 36. 36 with a scimitar. Oh, oof, they're about to get a terrible awakening. 43, 44, 45, 56, 57. Oh. X. Not terribly helpful, that, but moving on. I didn't see another corpse. Did you? Oh. Now this is unfortunate. Oof. And it looks like someone found him. So, these ghostly manifestations that we're seeing, if I had to suppose on how the supernatural works, I would say it is because their bodies are long lost to the sea. And so this is the only way that we can know what befell them. Also, what do you suppose this light is out here on the horizon? How strange. But enough of that. More death.
Let me on.
Over my dead body, you bloody Dane.
Huh? How's that?
There's no cause for trouble, boys. Get in the boat.
Thought I'd forget. You killed my brother.
What? That was an accident.
The robes.
It wasn't his fault. I saw the whole thing.
Lies. I shouldn't have waited so long.
No, don't.
Well, terribly informative. The first speaker, now dead, clearly didn't speak English as a first language. The fellow who killed him called him a bloody Dane. I think that's self-explanatory. Let me on. I see they're trying to leave. Young fellow with several books. Dressed rather nicely. In the back there, behind the captain. This fellow playing dice. This gentleman killed my brother. You all heard that right. It's not my ears fooling me. So, he has a brother. Someone else on the ship witnessed it. It must have happened while they were already together. So we'll see who has a brother. But first, clubbed. We don't know who, but has a brother. And he's Danish. So he is from Denmark. Is there anyone else from Denmark? There does not appear to be. Lars Lind was clubbed. Now, let's see who has a brother. Just paying attention to surnames right now. Going down, down. Formosa. Now, don't tell anyone who's, too in love with the royal family. But Formosa, it's also known as Taiwan. Sweden, Wales, Ireland. Oh, right. Surnames. Peters. The surname Peters is on here twice. Number 48, Nathan Peters. And number 60, Samuel Peters. It's a bit strange that they're not next to each other. I can't see any rhyme or reason to how the seamen are organized. Perhaps it's by seniority. Who knows? So, the murderer is one of Samuel or Nathan Peters. Well, this murderer. An ensign? Oh, look, it's a goat. But also, hold on. We're at the beginning of the doom when this is happening. So why are they leaving before they know that there's a Kraken? Because he's the first one to die here. The Kraken, his first kill was poor Edward Spratt having his shit. So why were they leaving? Interesting question. Welcome aboard. As I've said, don't touch anything. Oh, disappearances. Well, this is certainly interesting. So this fellow we didn't see, these 3 got on that boat. Oh, this gentleman, we know what happened to him. He was taken overboard by the Kraken. Oh, that's not what I wanted. This gentleman, we saw him with a pole arm stabbed right into one of the Kraken's tentacles. That was in the memory of Abigail's death, which is the last one. So Abigail dies, and we see this gentleman stabbing the Kraken, and he is never seen again. Presumably, the Kraken left, since it wasn't there during the mutiny. So, what are the odds that he held on to his pole arm when the Kraken left and was also taken overboard? That's what my instincts tell me. I don't remember this person at all. But he does have his hand at the helm. You know, a great way to lose some fingers. Touch somebody else's helm. So, we'll just keep that in mind for now. Things just went terribly poorly for this poor crew. Sorry, Roderick. Your bones deserve more respect than being walked over. Oh. That's a blood trail and a knife. We'll get to that. Oh, look at this. This is what Roderick was wearing. Now, if we remember, Roderick was a steward. And we are in the steward's cabin. Look at that. Absolutely excellent. Well done, us. All of us as a team. Right. Body? There is indeed a body here. And go back to the ship. We are now in the midshipman's cabin. Oh, these poor boys.
No, you're cut.
Don't leave me.
Bear up, son. I'll stay with you.
Tell Pete's mother I tried my best
Aye,
to pull him back, to save him.
you tell her yourself. Brennan! Bring the surgeon's kit!
There's a lot here. So, this gentleman here, with the accent, presumably, this is Sir William Hoscut of Scotland. So if we hadn't already been sure, we've certainly heard it now. This young man, this is the midshipman that we saw above decks. Now we'll get back to what he said in a moment, but William Hoscut called out very pointedly, Brennan, get the surgeon's kit. So, presumably, someone out here is Brennan, and that's 2 corpses, and our fellow mutineer, but mutineer number 2 here has a hand to his ear after William Hoscut yelled out for Brennan. And now we know from later on, or earlier, as the case may be, that William Hoscut attempted a mutiny by that man's side. So, it would make sense that it would be someone he was at least close enough to call for, to yell for a surgeon's kit. So, back here. Och no, you're cut. So, he says you're cut, and if you remember, at the end of that blood trail, well, before the body, there was a knife on the floor. So, this young man has also been knifed to death, unfortunately. But that's not the interesting thing here. Let me know if you caught it. I'm just going to pause for a moment if you want to tell me what the other interesting part of what he said is. Now, this is what the dead young man said, so it's got an X next to it. So everyone, look closely. Tell me if you've seen it. Anyone? So, the last scene where we saw this young midshipman, his friend was exploded by the powder that they threw at the Kraken. No, so the midshipman is telling the first mate, tell Pete's mother I tried my best to pull him back to save him. So we witnessed him trying to pull back his friend who exploded in powder. He was holding on to the rope wrapped around his friend's waist and pulling on it, though obviously in the middle of the storm during a Kraken attack, it wasn't very effective, and his friend died. And now he says, tell Pete's mother I tried to pull him back. So, the young man, the young midshipman who was exploded, is most likely named Pete. Not yet, Pocket Watch. I'm busy. So, you were cut with a knife by, we don't know who you are, but you're probably a midshipman. But if we go back in time to the Doom, young man was exploded, and the midshipmen are Peter Milroy, Thomas Lanky, Charles Herstick, Peter Milroy. Do you like it? This This is why they asked me to deal with this job rather than some local talent. Woof. Oh yeah, and this fellow is likely Brennan because he put his hand up because he heard his name called. So the escape. Oh, I wanted the end. Here we go. William Hoskett. And someone named Brennan. Henry Brennan of England. So, also, did anyone write down those numbers off of the hammocks? Because I'm noticing here that everyone is numbered. Which wouldn't seem so strange if not for the fact that even the passengers are numbered, which is a little bit strange. But there you have it. There was more than one number, but 41 was among them. Wei Li, topman from China. Now, hammock 41 was next to the two gentlemen eating dinner, one of whom pulled out the window by the Kraken, one of whom on the rigging, and then pulled off by the Kraken. So let's take a look at him really quick. What's 41's name again? It was Wei Li. Wei Li. So we're going to close this. And the Doom. He, quote unquote, disappeared in the Doom. No, that's not what I wanted. I apologize, I'm not good with the controls. Justice at Sea sketch. Here we are. So this is him here. Now, it's a magic book. That is highly fair. That is entirely fair. Now, not to be too terribly judgmental. However, let's look up here. These two are these two right here. Now, Formosan royalty. As established earlier, Formosa is another name for Taiwan, which is adjacent to China. And the gentleman who appears to be speaking with them has some features that I would say are familiar with those that I would associate with someone from China or that region. Wei Li, topman from China. Next to Hammock 41, I'd say that's what we're looking at. That is who we are looking at. 41. Well then, isn't that a thing? Thank you so much for the gifted sub. Everyone should go get a drink or whatever. I am going to play a commercial, but I'm going to play it back later on. So I'm going to stop and have a drink. You should stop and have a drink. And we can all listen to an amazing commercial voiced by Brad.
Is your Model T giving you trouble making your way down to the shop for a malt with your best girl? Do you find yourself tired from your tires and worried from your wheels? Well, there's a solution to all your problems in town.
Oh, I'm not too good at speaking on the radio here, but that's not my job. My name's Aki, and I'll fix your car, and I won't overcharge you or try and trick you. So, come on down to Aki's Bastard Trash Garage, the #1 repair shop in Orange County.
Aki's Bastard Trash Garage is not responsible for any damages to automotive vehicles. Only genuine Ford products with no at-home work or aftermarket installations will be guaranteed.
So this is one that Brett included as a joke. It is about Aki, my cat, and I say that Aki is trash garbage all the time, and so Aki's trash garage because he's trash garbage. Get it? It's great. It's absolutely great. Everyone, if you got him, give your otter loves to Brett as a big thank you for helping me out with this project. I really appreciate it. Couldn't have done it without you, bro. It's fantastic. So, I hope that you all enjoyed that because it's freaking amazing and it never fails to make me laugh every time I hear it. All right. Back to the game. So we have 2 bodies here. Our man coming down the stairs. This is a significant blood trail. Goodness. This poor boy. He must have been completely dry. All right. I guess this fellow is first. Oh, the door closed on me. Ghost ships, magic books, ectoplasm flying through the air. This is a health and safety nightmare. No one tell my boss. Or do, and I'll charge him hazard pay.
What's all this, you damn fool?
Well, that was certainly quick. So, this gentleman has half a face and a fancy hat. Oop. He's next to the top hat man that got blown in half. They're both half men. 2.5, perhaps. This gentleman clubbed to death, right in the face, by Henry Brennan, confirmed from the last one. Trail of blood starts over in here, which we can't explore any further. Here's William Hoskett coming down the stairs. Oh, and here's our midshipman with a knife in his back. Absolutely betrayed. Absolutely betrayed. Oh, he also has a fancy hat. How did they die? He was clubbed in the face by Henry Brennan. And that was Henry Brennan's voice. Interesting. Probably commenting on the body that was already there. Right outside the third mate's cabin. Sort of in the hallway. Let's see. Other hat. Over here. Probably shot, that's my guess. It's right here. Sir Spirit, sir, it's right here. Yes, thank you. Now see, the pocket watch is out, but not open over this body that we haven't seen. But it is open over this one. And the time is... what? 9:25? Does that look right to all of you? Chapter 9, Part 5. 9:25. Hold on, hold on. And this would be 9:30, Chapter 9, Part 6. Excellent. That will most likely be helpful moving forward. So, let's see how this man got his face blown off.
Captain Campbell. You have a plan? Yes. Take ship for sail east. Trade treasure fish and shells for gold. Hey, who's there? Mutiny! Mutiny! Fresh bastard!
So this is also a lot to take in. We had a man with an English accent, another man with a foreign accent, and then a young man screaming, "Mutiny, mutiny." Now, the man that doesn't speak English as a first language, he said, "Fresh bastard." Ha ha ha. Now, for those less familiar with seagoing terms, if someone is fresh, they are relatively new. And midshipmen are also new, as you can tell by the fact that they're such young men. They're sort of in training to be people with more important titles, mates, whatever, what have you, officers. And so, we had a young man, midshipman, with a knife in his back, just after he yelled mutiny. So, when he died from bleeding out of his knife wound, we didn't see what happened to him, but we can suppose that he was stabbed in the back for witnessing talk of a mutiny and then running. Yes? Do you like it? So, don't know who this is, but he was shot in the face. So you were shot with a gun, and we don't know who did it, but he had a fancy hat. And was then immediately murdered. I'm still not quite sure what happened here. 'Cause did the man that did the shooting, did he also stab that young man and then kill the witness? But then there were just more witnesses involved. It's difficult to say for sure. We should take a better look around. Though apparently there's another body, so we'll probably come back here. Yeah, so here he is, crawling away with a knife in his back. There's Henry Brennan coming down to hear the commotion. Now remember, when Henry Brennan killed this unnamed fellow, he said, "What's all this then?" So he came down after hearing the shot be fired and all of the yelling. There's William Hoskett also on his way down. here we are, dumping a corpse over the side. This is the bald man who attempted the mutiny in the end. And this over here is our captain with a gun, looking very beleaguered. Did he kill this man that's being thrown overboard? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, and it's just balancing there. And that sparkle. It's still out on the horizon.
Let them go!
Oh! This woman, we saw her in Abigail's memory coming out of the passengers' quarters. So she's shooting him. Oh dear, this young man, absolutely dead. Looks like this young man is going with them in this boat. There's someone down there. It looks like she's wearing a skirt, so I would suppose that she is the other woman that was on the ship. William Hoskett, Henry Brennan. Here's the captain. Now, I don't know how good you are with voices, but I am a professional investigator. I recognize it was the captain who said, "Let them go." Now, he's not the one who shot our victim here, but he was agreeing that they should be allowed to escape. So this chapter, aptly named The Escape, is likely referring to them. So we don't know how he died, but he was absolutely shot by a gun. Now, he was shot by that woman who is a passenger. And there are not that many passengers. There are 2 English women. And certainly those are the English women because we saw them coming out of the passengers' cabins and we did not see any of the passengers from Formosa. We know it's not Abigail because we found her body already. Now, we have Emily Jackson and Miss Jane Bird. Now, the naming conventions here are very telling because Miss Jane Bird is undoubtedly unmarried and therefore likely younger. So, if we see that one of them looks markedly younger than the other, or one of them is obviously married, say we see her ring, then we'll know who is whom and who shot this man. So keep that in mind. Now, I see this body right here. I can guess what happened to him. I can guess that he's next. But I want to see if we can go downstairs and see the mutiny with a better shot. Oh, look, it's this man from the actual successful sort of, or no, it was a failed mutiny, but the one that came later, the official mutiny. So we go down the stairs. Oh, look. We have the man in the hat about to stab our poor midshipman in the back. But there's already a blood trail here. We can't see further in, but this is the man that shoots the man in the hat. So he's about to witness the murder. So these 2 were clearly discussing mutiny. He yelled it, and now he is about to meet his fate. So now let's take a look at this body up here on the deck. Poor fellow.
Last one. Move quick.
You'll not take the last one.
So we hear Paul, look out, and then this gentleman gets stabbed. I think it's pretty easy to say that this is Paul. Let's see. This is definitely the other passenger. There we go. Yes, see, there's the three of them. Abigail and then the two other women. We have this gentleman with a tie, very nice. Now, if you recall, the last time we saw a boat getting away, the man standing next to him was in the boat clutching a lot of books. So I would think that these are two maybe more important people on the ships, not mates, but likely officers. Now, this woman doing the shooting, also, that's her left hand. What do we see here? So, that's right, a wedding ring. So that must be Emily Jackson. But first, we have to find Paul. Paul Moss. Let's see if there are any other Pauls. Wait, no, because he was wearing the steward's outfit that we saw on Roderick. So we know that this must be Paul Moss. And he was killed by a sword. And we don't know who it is that killed him. Now go back. You were shot by Emily Jackson, who is a passenger, therefore there. So I don't see another body. But let's go downstairs again and see what's going on there. Again, here's our captain with his chest hair just all out there. William Hoskett, Henry Brennan. Aha! Look, it's our midshipman eavesdropping. Here's Fancy Hat number 1, who gets clubbed. Fancy Hat number 2, who gets shot in the face. And I don't recognize this man at all. Oh, look at his hat. Do you remember? I don't think you do. I'll show you. And then we'll come back here. Okay, so this is the body we just found, but we saw him before, and I'll show you where, and you'll appreciate this, I promise. So, we're in the Doom. This is where Abigail dies. And here's our passengers. Emily Jackson, her ring also very clear again, as you can see on the door. Behind her, Miss Jane Bird. Here's the fellow who gets half his face blown off. Looking at, oh! Look at this man's being carried right away. And it's the man with his hand on the helm, and he's right above the helm. So, helmsman dragged away by the beast. One of you write that down. We'll remember it when we're done here. So, back to the man that was missing an arm and we couldn't even tell what he was. This is him. And he's missing his left arm. Do you see that? It's torn off by the beast. Right here, we saw it. And the man next to him, who probably got pulled overboard because his pole arm was in one of the Kraken's tentacles. All right, so now we'll go see what he says just before he bled out. Where's the door? So, right, helmsman. Helmsman. Hand right on the helm. Helmsman Finley Dalton was drowned by the Kraken. Now, man who lost his arm because it was torn right off.
Put me down. Let go.
Easy now. You're in a bad way.
Is the squid? Where is my Frenchman?
The squid's gone. Your mate was torn apart.
I can't. The beast is dead. How? How did you kill it?
We didn't. It left with the storm. Captain came up from the hold. Said he chased it off. You should rest.
A curse like that does not live for nothing.
So this was a great deal of information. And now I can get a better look at him. I can see that he does have those quite impressive sideburns, and he does have a jacket on his remaining arm. So he was torn apart. But you have to remember what the gentleman and he said in this conversation. So first of all, there is our... Is this the captain? Yes, the captain's going up. He's about to see the altercation up there. Here's the midshipman about to overhear the mutiny. Here is William Hoskett coming out of his cabin. So he said, "Verdammt." Now, I'm no linguist, but I know my curses. This was a German curse word. So, let's look at the roster and see what happens. But also, what came next? He said, "Where is my Frenchman?" And then the other man replied, "Your mate was torn apart." So he is an officer with a mate, as we could also guess from his super fancy hat and his massive sideburns. So he is an officer, he has a mate, the mate is French, and he speaks German. So this unknown soul, French, mate, bosun, Austria, they speak German in Austria. This man is the bosun, Alfred Klestel. And he was absolutely torn apart by a beast. But they said his mate was torn apart, which is not what we put. We put that he was drowned, but they explicitly said that he was torn apart. Where am I looking? Here. This man was torn apart by a terrible beast, and he is the mate, the Frenchman. I don't need further clues. I just walked this whole group through it. Weren't you listening? This is the bosun's mate, Charles Minor. See, I told you it was important for us to go back and see where we had seen the man before. And now for another quick break. So, to those of you who don't know, I have probably watched somewhere between 20 and 30 Let's Plays and streams of this game. So if you're like, oh my God, I missed that, that's because I have 30 people's worth of playing through this game that I am drawing off of to explain all of the reasoning here, all the little things that you didn't catch or you didn't see. I absolutely would not have seen them the first time either. Yeah, Guar. I was actually really hoping that someone would pop in and like try to spoil it for me so I could sit here and be like, I know more than you. But one of the playthroughs that I watched that I really enjoyed is on YouTube. It's by a group called Mangled Pork Gaming. And this guy, he took a whole bunch of notes. And what he did is, I don't know if you saw in the tutorial, but the face is blurred until you can identify them. And so basically, he would not move on from a chapter if a face became unblurred. He would just sit there until he figured out who it was, because he was like, I have to be able to figure it out from the information I already have. So he had like a much smaller pool of memories and things to go back and look through. And then he walks you through the reasoning on everybody. And it's really just a great watch through if you want to know someone. Oh my God, you didn't catch the hammock numbers? Anyway, it's a really great walkthrough if you want to sort of know probably how Lucas Pope intended for you to solve a lot of these. Now, there's only 4 commercials total, but we are going to go ahead and play another one because we're going to do Aki's again a little bit later. And I'm sorry that we're having so many breaks, but A, this game is really cool and I want to talk about it. And B, my throat hurts because I have respiratory problems. So, also, the reason that we go back to this screen every time is because this game doesn't have like windowed mode. So it'll minimize and do stupid things every time I alt tab away from it. So that's why we go through this every time. All right, and we're going to listen to another ad, once again, voiced by Bread, and then edited by our good friend Ryan.
All over the world, a frightening trend has emerged of women turning their backs on the institution of marriage. Chief among these spinsters is a leader they call the Dizzying Spinster. If you don't want to wake up one day and find out that your little girl has become an independent, prideful, feminist, keep her away from the Dizzying Spinster.
Now, I just want to note that that commercial and the other one, which are both for people that we know, they were done with the consent of the streamers involved. You know, they were aware of what's happening. So, you know, Brett did not just spring this on Lauren right now. This was planned ahead. Now, now's the time when you should take your bathroom break because I need to walk around a little bit because my leg hurts because it's been about 2 hours. So I will be back in 5 minutes. So at 8:50 p.m., we will continue. So have a nice little break. So, no, I don't walk around during Factorio because Factorio is an addiction, not a game, exactly like Velo said. And we are still not going to start for another 3 minutes. Also, Nerd's making me some tea for my poor throat, so... All right, and also the next memory that we're going to do is my absolute, bar none, favorite in the game. So if you're just sort of like hanging around or you're looking at your other window, this is the one that you're really going to want to tune in for. Oh, thanks. Also, I don't talk nearly this much during Factorio. I know, right? This game is so good. This game is so freaking good. That's why I've watched like 30 playthroughs of it. Also, Mangled Port Gaming also played Factorio, so... I'm just saying. And here is the playthrough by Mangled Port Gaming that I was talking about. It's really, really good, Velo, if you want to learn what it's like to be obsessively good at something like this, because it is just absolutely, absolutely wild. I could never, ever play it like the way that he did, but it was an enjoyable watch, for sure. Though I do tend to like the people that are more like really into it and super surprised by everything that happens, and they're just like so ecstatic every time they figure something out. I remember I watched one playthrough, and basically after the tutorial section, they didn't get anyone for a long, long time. Like the way that I'm playing it here, where every few deaths I'm like clicking it off like 3 out of 5, that is not how this game goes at all. You can get to the complete end of all the memories and still only have like 6 people solved. That's how it usually goes. So if you're not good at puzzle games, I am sparing you so much heartache right now. Yeah, pretty much. Like, Paul Moss is kind of a gimme too, but who the fuck stabbed him? Who stabbed him? What was that? And it's not even the first 3, because you don't get Henry Brennan. Henry Brennan is actually really difficult for a lot of people to get. It wasn't until I watched Mangled Pork and he was like, oh my god, this guy has his hand up to his ear, he must be Henry Brennan. And I was like, what? It was that easy? But yeah, so whenever I talk about this game, Henry Brennan is always the one that I remember so clearly. He is number 56, and he is just there in my mind. All right, it is time for us to get back in, but I'm going to wait for Nerd to bring me my tea so he can sit down, because this is my favorite chapter. So we're going to replay the Aki ad because it's fucking great. And that way, if anyone isn't quite back yet, you know, they're not missing anything they haven't heard before. Aki's Trash Garage. Bastard Aki's Trash Garage.
Is your Model T giving you trouble making your way down to the shop for a malt with your best girl? Do you find yourself tired from your tires and worried from your wheels? Well, there's a solution to all your problems in town.
Oh, I'm not too good at speaking on the radio here, but that's not my job. My name's Aki, and I'll fix your car, and I won't overcharge you or try and trick you. So, come on down to Aki's Bastard Trash Garage, the #1 repair shop in Orange County.
Aki's Bastard Trash Garage is not responsible for any damages to automotive vehicles. Only genuine Ford products with no at-home work or aftermarket installations will be guaranteed.
All right, Alfred Klestel had his arm ripped off by the Kraken. His poor mate, overboard, torn apart, terrible. Helmsman Henry Dalton, off into the abyss. And then, mutiny is about to happen. Our poor midshipman's about to get stabbed in the back. His murderer will be shot in the face. And then his killer will be clubbed to death by Henry Brennan. So, there is certainly quite a bit going on this ship. But remember, this is chapter 9. So what came before all of this that led to those men trying to leave during the doom? That's what I want to see. Escape. So these X's are the dead bodies, and the slashes are disappearances. So we don't know what happened, but we do know that this is this is Emily Jackson. Because she's the one that shot the man who killed Paul Moss with a sword. So this is Emily Jackson. And this is Miss Jane Bird. We don't know who this is. We don't know who this is. But judging from this young man's clothing, he's probably a steward. So that's not what I wanted. Try anyways. I'm not actually going to try, but unknown steward. So he is an unknown steward. So, let's explore a little bit more. Now this is a sight to behold. What kind of unholy stain is this? And on the ceiling, need I point out. Absolutely horrible. So this here is the cargo deck. A lot of things are mostly in order here. This is the gun storage, weapon storage, so we would expect to see the gunner and the gunner's mate in here. This is exploding powder. This is probably exploding powder, but for cannons because it's much larger. As you can see, many swords are missing, many guns are missing. Let's get out of here. And this is the carpenter's shop. So we should probably be able to find out who the carpenter, carpenter's mate, gunner, and gunner's mate are if we pay attention to these two back rooms during whatever scenes we find on this deck. That is some kind of stain. So what is this? This is the surgery. Bottles, books. Surgeon didn't take his books with him, so maybe that was not the surgeon clutching his books in that little boat. Though also, maybe it's just me, he looked a little young to be a ship surgeon. This is the purser's store. So the purser this would be, his little room, and it was basically like a little shop where he could sell things to the crew and I suppose the passengers, though why would they? Also, if any of you are what is this? What are these? I suppose we'll find out what caused that damage later, but if any of you are wondering what these holes are for that are on the sides here, this is so that, in the case that they are boarded by pirates, the crew of this ship... Oh, blood trail. Blood trail. The crew of the ship can cohere into the port and starboard walk, as these are called, blood trail, and they can shoot inside at the attackers from these little windows while still being relatively safe. So, isn't that interesting? Also, it helps with airflow, but that's far less interesting. So, this blood trail does indeed lead to a body.
Someone shoot the damn thing!
So, the lazarette they mentioned, that's something that you're more likely to probably think of as the hold, where they would keep prisoners. So, whatever they are, they're making for the lazarette. And judging by the sounds, this man was shot through the wall, it seems. And he appears to be wearing the steward's uniform. So he's probably a steward. And so, but he was bleeding before he was shot. So that, are you seeing what I'm seeing here? I don't know what this creature is, but it is terrible. Thank you. That is the only appropriate response. That is the only appropriate response. It is apparently a soldier of the sea. And it is horrifying. Now, we're going to investigate a little bit further, so everyone stay behind me. But first, this gentleman, how did they die? He was absolutely shot through the wall. Probably with a gun, because that sounded like a gunshot. Who is he? I don't know, but he was wearing steward's clothing. So, this horrible, horrible thing. Are those crab legs on the end? This is terrible. Also, this appears to be William Hoskett right there, parrying with a gun. Nice job, sir. There is our fellow with the scimitar. And hold on. The fellow with the scimitar. Hold on. Hold on. This gentleman here with the turban, I think he's the one holding the scimitar. That seems culturally appropriate, we'll say. Does anyone remember which hammock had the scimitar hanging from it? Because that is probably this man's hammock. All right. So, man with the scimitar. Probably whomever that is. In the background here, we have someone with a gun pointed at where our victim was shot. Now, it's difficult to see him because he is far away. But let's see how we can get a good look at him. He does appear to be bald. He has white trousers, and his shirt is not completely white. Now, he looks familiar to me. Does he look familiar to anyone else? Because we've seen him, and we've seen him die. So let's go back very quickly to Life at Sea. It looks like this gentleman here, bosun's mate, Charles Minor. So, do you here on with me agree that this appears to be Charles Minor shooting at this horrible, horrible creature and accidentally hitting our friend here? Because that looks like... is that a spear stuck in the wall? Okay. I believe that it is Charles Minor. So that is what I will put here because I am fairly certain. Looking through, there are not too many bald people, but there is more than one. But I do believe that this is Charles Minor accidentally shooting this unknown steward through the wall when he's already bleeding. Quite terrible. Quite terrible. This is just horrible. Oh, that's where that damage came from. Oh dear. Oh, what, is that another body in the back there? Oh, this is quite terrible. This is the purser's store, and look who's hiding in it. This is that young man with the books who was escaping on the boat during the doom. The doom, and he disappeared, so we don't know yet for sure, but he is in the purser's office. Duncan McKay. So I told you that it was important that we looked into these rooms so that we could see if we could spot our purser, our gunner, and our carpenter, and the surgeon. But let's find out what sort of horrible thing led to all of this. If you've just joined us, make sure you don't get caught in the floating ectoplasm.
I've got you. Don't move. I'll get you down.
So he has been absolutely stabbed bodily through. Horrible, horrible. That is a terrible sound as he is dying. So most likely he was shot through in the previous scene, but is only now dying because they are removing the punctures going through his body. So this is our victim. He is wearing an apron in the back. He has a tankard. He is standing next to somebody else in an apron. This is the gentleman who escaped with the women. He is helping them. This is the fellow who has a brother and killed Lars Lind. He's going further below. Hand me that gun. That was probably spoken by this gentleman to this one over here, who's out. That's Alfred Klestel, the bosun. That's why he has a gun. So who is this? I don't know. He is a gentleman with an apron, though. But he has horrible spikes in him. I'll take that. Horrible spikes. So Alfred Klestel is handing this gentleman a gun. What else is oh, they're pouring... This looks like a crab body. This is a midshipman, unfortunately, dead on top of that horrible crab body. This is probably Peter Milroy. Yes, because the other one on the side we haven't identified yet. So this is Peter Milroy, who unfortunately exploded. This is his friend who was stabbed in the back. And I suppose, thankfully, we can't see anything else. Can't go up top. Oh, here's our blood trail. There's another spike. So this is our previous body, the unknown steward. It looks like he was spiked in the midsection and then crawled away hoping for safety, only to accidentally be shot. That is just some terrible luck. But let's see how our other midshipman died here. This is a horrible, horrible bloodstain. Oh no. Why would it bring back the body of that thing as well? Oh, this is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. Oh, why would they show this? Why would this come back? Did you bring enough to share with everyone on the ship, Curve? That's very rude if you didn't. Well, those were some truly horrible noises. This poor young man is on fire, possibly also stabbed through by his friend as his friend stabs the creature. Here is the man with the tie who escaped with the women who pulled... Yeah, see, he is already spiked through. Here is our gentleman crawling for safety, our unknown steward. There is the man who killed Lars Lind with the brother. He's the one who asked for a gun in the next chapter. Here's his other friend, Alfred Klestel. Oh my god! These two men have both lost their heads. This is absolutely horrible. William Hoskett, Charles Miner, both looking out, holding guns, pointing in a direction that the beast is not in. They have their backs to this creature that has been set on fire. This is not a good sign. So, yeah. This is an unknown midshipman, and he was burned horribly, horribly to death. But yeah, see, Charles Miner and the first mate are both over here. And the crab horrible monster is back here. The crab horrible monster that just decapitated both of these men is back here, and they have their backs to it. So what are they facing? This is just absolutely terrible. I'm letting you all know right now, I'm doubling my hazard pay after this. This is just absolutely malignantly terrible. So that confirms that our poor midshipman was indeed on fire. Here is his friend getting knocked over. Other one very stylishly parrying that blow. There he is. This is the poor young man that burned horribly. And he's the one that set it on fire. Oh, that is terrible. Here's the gentleman that was spiked through the wall. Remember, he had 3 spikes the whole way through his body. This is the unknown steward who crawled away to safety only to be shot. Here's the first mate looking. There's 2 of them. There are 2 of them. This gentleman here who was clubbed in the face by Henry Brennan. Ah, look, this is our friend with the turban and the scimitar, as speculated. Horrible, horrible deaths. You were decapitated by a terrible beast. What accidents? What accident has happened? Wait, I wasn't done yet. Bring it back. You were also decapitated. No, you were decapitated by a terrible, terrible beast. All right, so here is our friend with the scimitar. He is indeed the gentleman with the beard and the turban. Here is a second one of those creatures. Absolutely awful. Awful, awful, awful. Here is a gentleman we later see asking for a gun. The one that was going to go down even further next to him. Oh, this man also speared through 3 times. Oof. Terrible. This is absolutely horrid. Let's see what happened. Sorry, Roderick.
What's going on?
Stay back. It's already going for Nick.
Hey, come on, boss. No, get there. Hey, cat!
See, I had a moment of relief because I heard an accent that I recognized, and for a moment I felt at home, and then I remembered where we were, and all I could say was, oh no. So, about to be killed terribly. Oh, but he threw an axe, and this creature deflected it. Oh, this thing is look at its eyes. This is horrible. This creature is horrible. All of this is horrible. He's hiding there. As remember, in the next scene, he is pulling back this gentleman who is indeed about to get spiked, though he will survive it. So it looks like he got hit right straight in the lung and died pretty instantly. Maybe it pierced his spine. It's difficult to say. There's Lars Lind. That explains why they were certainly trying to leave at the beginning of the Doom. Because if I saw these horrible things, I would also leave. Who is this? How did they die? So he died by being spiked by a terrible beast. Now, a demon, since Lars Lind is there, presumably he is speaking in his native language. Out of the way, beat to quarters, enemy aboard. What's going on? This guy is a Yank. He is from the States, and he is now dead. Stay back. It's already done for Nick. Come on, boss. Somebody else is his boss. And then to him, also in an American accent, no, get down. Hey, catch. He says, hey, catch, because he's throwing that axe. And like all good Americans, he is sassy when he is about to die. So, the gentleman pulling him down is possibly, most likely his boss, because he says, come on, boss. The boss says no and is pulling on him to come down. They both have American accents. Let's take a look at the crew manifest. So, the crew. America! Fuck yeah! Sorry. Winston Smith, carpenter. Marcus Gibbs, carpenter's mate. I bet all of you each $1 that our dead man here, Marcus Gibbs, carpenter's mate. Very interesting, given the year and the fact that his boss is African American, presumably based on his accent. But life is different at sea. Good on him. So, that's my guess. It thinks I don't know yet. I'll let him sit on it for a little bit. Lars Lind says it's a demon. Clubbed in the face. Are you the one that disappears? I think you're the steward that disappears. And you are standing next to Sir Clubbed in the face. Interesting. Are you his steward, perhaps? Oh, God. Oh, it has, like, duck feet. This is terrible. This is terrible. Look at this horrible thing. Don't... I know that we are in a phantasmal hallucination, but try not to get speared. This gentleman has been stabbed through horribly. The dialogue said it's already done for Nick. Is this perhaps Nick? And then we have this gentleman also dead. Not good. Not looking very good. So this explains why everyone was trying to escape before the doom even started. So, moving on. This fellow here, most likely Nick. Are we playing Ring Around the Rosie? Now's not the time for this ectoplasm. Oh, Nick. Absolutely speared. It's not enough that they have spikes, they have these horrible spears too that look like other legs. There's Lars Lind, there's fellow with a brother, crushed by a cannon, pulled out the window by the Kraken, disappeared on a boat, Henry Brennan, Charles Minor, Goat, and here is the second horrible, horrible beast. And here is the fellow that... Where did he come from? He came from the rigging, apparently. Horrible beast. So, oof. You definitely appear to be Nick, whomever your surname is. All right. You were speared by a terrible beast, and Nichols doesn't really look like a second mate to me. Nicholas Botterill. Sorry, Nick. It's already done for you. So Nick, it appears that he was speared right out of the rigging, and this gentleman that we're about to find here, I can't remember what this is called, But he seems to have fallen from the rigging as well, so let's see what horrible, perhaps only actual accident happened to him. He was electrocuted. And we are in the rigging. Oh my. Oh my. So now it makes sense that we saw Charles Minor up here, because he's the bosun's mate, so he's probably the one directing everyone on the ground right now. There's Nicholas Botterill about to get speared as the crab climbs up the side of the ship. Here is the other crab coming up. Yeah, absolutely terrible lightning. Here is our poor victim. And here are the rest of our topmen. So see here, Maba, our friend from New Guinea, topman. Our friend Wei Li, also a topman, as we guessed. So we can put everyone else up here as topmen as well. So this is before the Kraken came. This is before the Kraken. This is chapter 6. So we do not know, but he is a topman, and he was electrocuted. So you are an unknown topman. So topman, topman, topman. Not you. Please let me look at him. He is the gentleman with the turban, please. Thank you. So, scimitar. Turban. Very fancy beard. I don't know if anyone wrote down the number that was on the hammock with the scimitar, but I would put money on it being 36. So, this is our friend Omid Ghul, topman from Persia. But we don't know what happened to him. He disappeared. He disappeared in the Doom, so he disappeared next chapter. Topman, topman. So we don't know who this is, but he is also undoubtedly a topman. He was decapitated by a terrible beast, so we are going to put that he is an unknown topman. And this gentleman, this is the one who was killed by Emily Jackson. And he is also an unknown topman. Is there anyone else up here that we can just point at and say, you're a topman? Yes, you. This fellow who has been all around everywhere. He was in the mutiny that we saw much earlier. He is also an unknown topman. So, close this. Oh dear. So, how do we get out? Oh, there's a door on the rigging. Welcome to the investigation, Biggie. So good of you to join us here aboard the Obra Dinn, the ship that might be more phantasm than wood at this point. Storm's gonna come in soon, so we have to finish this investigation right quick. Thanks for joining us. So I want to go back to the Doom and see if we can find out what happened to some of the other people that are just missing. Oh, Maba, you poor soul. So, Maba torn in half. This is the gentleman that gets killed by a sword by Emily Jackson. Half this fellow has half of his face shot off. Clubbed in the face by Henry Brennan. Oh! Do you see this? Do you remember when the man who has a brother clubbed Lars Lind? He was getting into this boat at the beginning of this chapter, trying to escape with two other gentlemen, the one holding the books and the other one with the scarf around his neck. So they, unfortunately, did not seem to make it. So his surname is Peters, if you remember, because he has a brother. But we don't know what his name is. But we do know that he was drowned by a terrible beast. And who was in the boat with him? Duncan McKay, the purser, who we spotted in the pursery, drowned trying to escape by a terrible beast. So this is the third man that was in the boat with them, and he was drowned by a terrible beast. We don't know what his name is, though apparently we can guess. Well, guess semi-accurately. Who is this? This is the man who attempts to mutiny and gets killed by the captain. So who we're looking for right now is Omid Ghoul, because he also disappeared in this chapter, and he's a topman. That's why we're looking up. So this is Peter Milroy, who we remember because his friend was knifed in the back, and he said, I tried to save Pete, pull him back, etc. So we're going to go look into his desk and see if we can find Omid Ghoul there and what happened to him. Oh, terrible way to die, Peter. I'm so sorry. Oh! Here's what happened to Omid Ghoul. He has apparently fallen overboard. He fell overboard. And there you have it. 1/4 done. All right, we're going to take a little break here to hear from our sponsors, and then we will continue. We are looking to wrap up, however, within the next half hour, so be sure to stick around. Hey, Biggie, thanks for joining us. Yeah, like they said, it's an in-character stream, and I was trying not to break character too much as we're going through this. And now we're going to hear a ad that Brad made with the help of our good friend Ryan Hill from Downhill Entertainment, or whatever it's called. And so just go ahead and have a listen.
Eye on the globe. In the wilds of the Netherlands exists a creature unlike any we've ever seen. A fox-like wonder has managed to domesticate itself without exposure to its intelligent human counterparts. The clip we are about to play may frighten you, so we advise mothers and young children to step away from their radio sets.
What the fuck?
Did everyone like that? I liked that. All right, I'm going to play the Spinster ad for anyone who happened to miss it the first time around. And then I'm going to walk around a little bit. And then we're going to finish for tonight. So, Spinster ad is somewhere. I don't know where I put it.
over the world, a frightening trend has emerged of women turning their backs on the institution of marriage. Chief among these spinsters is a leader they call the Dizzying Spinster. If you don't want to wake up one day and find out that your little girl has become an independent, prideful, feminist, keep her away from the Dizzying Spinster.
All right, and we'll be right back. It doesn't? Oh my god, Fred. All right, everyone back? Everyone back? All right. So, now we found out what happened to poor Omid Ghoul. Well, this is interesting. This cow skull is clearly having a reaction from the watch. Let's take a look.
Take him to the cow station. Get him wrapped and seat the last right.
Let her here. One swing. Get through the skull in stone or brain. I'll cut her throat when you've done it. Here? Yeah. Come on before she kicks up. You all right there, sir?
Never been on a farm, Charlie?
Mind your shoes now.
Oof, this poor kid's not having a good day. Look, it's all of the midshipmen. They are slaughtering a cow, presumably to eat. And Charlie is here being sick. So we know this young man is Charlie. So you are Charles Hirschstick, and you burned to death. Poor kid. And that means you... Yeah, you are the last midshipman, which is Thomas Lenke. And he was knifed by a guy who got shot in the face. And this is presumably the butcher. He's wearing an apron. He has a distinctive accent. Butcher, Ireland, there you go. Distinctive accent. But the beginning of this scene was very strange because they said, take him to the carpenter, see to his last rites. Here we go. This makes sense. So first of all, why does this gentleman have a monkey? I would like a pet monkey. That's not true. Don't get me a pet monkey. However, he does indeed have a pet monkey. And we have a poor dead gentleman being carried up the stairs. Now, for those who are wondering why the dialogue said, take him to the carpenters, when you died at sea, you were wrapped in old sail, which was under the purview of the carpenters, and they saw to the last rites and then throwing the bodies out to sea. So that's why they're taking him to the carpenters. Also, bitter cold, chapter 2, we are back at the beginning. A large cow was slaughtered for its meat. Taken to the carpenters, see to his last rites. So we now have identified all the midshipmen and we've got the butcher. So that's excellent. Also, we have this gentleman with the monkey here. If you recall from when we were looking around on this deck, this room, which I can't open, is the purser's store, and this room is the surgery. And we have someone here cleaning the surgery, and this gentleman is outside giving instructions. So, this gentleman, who also is dressed very nicely, most likely the surgeon, and the fellow in here is most likely the surgeon's mate. But we'll see about that in a second. Good night, Guar. Sweet dreams.
Same as the other fellow. Some lung disease, non-consumption. Made worse by the cold.
Will it spread?
If so, we'd all have it. They must have picked it up at the Alaska house. I checked all hands just now, and everyone is healthy.
And him? What are his chances?
I gave him some laudanum. We'll see.
Apparently the laudanum did not help, and he just died. So, this is the man that we just said is probably the surgeon. This gentleman over here who was cleaning the surgery is probably the surgeon's mate. And here is third mate Martin Parrott. Now remember, because Martin Parrott is a mate and a high one at that, it makes sense that the surgeon would be the one speaking to him, not the surgeon's mate. So this gentleman here, we will say that he is the surgeon. Now, I didn't look at the whole roster when we started, but it seems that perhaps I should have. Because if you remember, I received this book and this pocket watch from one Henry Evans, which means that Henry Evans is still alive. Now, scroll back through time a little bit to when we were at the chapter of the escape. Henry Evans was on the boat, and he was with the two women, Emily Jackson and Miss Jane Bird, and the unknown steward. So, Henry Evans, he is alive, and he has sent me these items. Now, he asked that when it's finished, that I return the book to him by certified post to the French Office of Affairs in Morocco. Morocco is in Africa. So, he is alive, and he is in Africa. Now, I'm not much of a betting man. I certainly know better than to stay out of Atlantic City. However, what I know for sure is that Miss Jane Bird and Emily Jackson are also in alive and presumably also in Morocco. So, we are going to go to the escape. And we are going to say that Miss Emily Jackson is alive in Africa. And we are going to say Miss Jane Bird is also alive in Africa. And now here's when the betting happens, you see. Because the magic book, it only tells us that I'm right, that we're right, in sets of 3. And there's someone we can guess. If you remember, the Doom Part 1, Lars Lind was killed by this gentleman who has a brother, this gentleman whose surname is Peters. So we can guess one of the two Peters brothers. Would we like to guess Nathan Peters or Samuel Peters? Go ahead, let me know, and then we'll see if we're right. Would anyone else like to guess? We'll do a vote. Nathan or Samuel? Everyone speak up. Go ahead. It's all right if you're wrong. We'll know immediately. That is 2 votes for Nathan. Oh, and 2 votes for Sam. Bread, do you remember? Or are you going to spoil it for everyone? Biggie, are you still here? Would you like to vote? Atropa? Kerf? Sam or Nathan? Nathan. Nathan's fishy. All right, we'll go with Nathan. Well done. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's the middle of the night. You should go to bed. So you are the surgeon's mate, decapitated horribly. James Wallace. Oh my goodness, that is far too late. That is far too late. Can we go outside? What's happening outside? Oh no. So, if you paid attention to what they were saying, which I can refresh for you here. Not this one. Oh, it hasn't shown up yet. But we'll look at it in a second. But it says, the doctor, Henry Evans, says, he must have picked it up at the Lasker House, which is an establishment in England where sailors who are not currently at sea will spend their time. Usually those who are not English and don't, necessarily have a home wherever they're staying. And since they both caught it together, it's likely that these fellows are all friends and therefore in the same place. From the same place. So we have people speaking Russian. And one of many Indian languages. So, since they're saying get up, we were talking about someone who was sick. It is likely that our dead friend here is Syed, and that the people around him are speaking one of the Indian languages. And so the people speaking Russian are probably, seems like they're the only ones awake, and they did say stop your cheating, therefore these are likely our Russians. Now, I don't know if you remember, but when we were up in the rigging, we saw a topman among these men. It's this one. So this topman is Russian. So topman, because he is an unknown topman, he is Russian. He is Leonid Volkov. And he was shot with a gun by Emily Jackson. So we have Solomon Syed, who is in his bed. Let's see, is Solomon Syed number 54? Syed, Solomon Syed, seaman from India. So that is this gentleman here. This is the gentleman who died in the last chapter, who we just saw. He is number 51. So we'll take a look at that in a second. So, this is Solomon Syed, and he had a tragic illness. So 51. '51 is Renfred Rajub. So you are 51. So X, we don't know who you are. You are presumably 53. Excuse me, sir, not you. Excuse me, sir. There we go. You are 53. You were crushed. This gentleman was the one crushed between the beast and the cannon when the man with the top hat had his top half blown off. So, he is with the three other three other gentlemen from India. He is bunking with the rest of the seamen. This is probably the last seaman from India, Abraham Akbar, even though his hammock is marked with an X. So, that is probably who you are. And most everyone is asleep right now. 58. 57. Actually, one second. Who do I want to look at? You. So, we guessed that Nathan Peters killed Lars Lind, and that was correct. So this is Nathan Peters. Nathan Peters is 48. So, Nathan Peters is 48. Let's see if 48 is here and asleep. Because we know who he is already. We used the magic book to check. But, if he is here asleep, then we know that he is the one that is alive. Oh, hello. Someone write this down. 37 has a tattoo of a lady on his arm. Make a note of this for later. "37 has a tattoo of a lady on his arm." I do not see 48, but we can't see all of the we can't see all of the hammocks, so he might still be here. But let's see. These three are 47, 45, and 46. So, the crew, they're empty. 47, 45, and 46. These are the three men from Russia right here. So we can be reasonably assured that these two remaining men are these two right here. Alarkis Nikishin and Alexei Toporov. But do you see this here on his hammock? He's got a pipe in his bag. So if we can see one of these two smoking a pipe, we'll know who he is. So write down 47 pipe. And so when we see one of these two with a pipe, we'll know who it is. So let's get some good looks at their pictures so it's easy to see. Yeah, they're on either side of Leonid, so it's not too hard. And with that, we're going to have to end it for tonight. That is all for tonight's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you again on Thursday at the same time. It is going to be 7 p.m. EST. We're probably not going to get through the whole game, but as you can probably tell, my throat is absolutely trashed already. 3 hours is about my limit, so even if we don't get through the whole thing, we are going to get through most of it. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it. I am going to make the VOD available, and I will also put it on YouTube so that you can watch it later if you want Atropa, so you don't have to worry about that. You'll be able to catch up at least. So that's what we're going to have going on there. I highly recommend that if your favorite streamer or whoever has played this game in the past, that you go ahead and watch their playthrough as well, because it is a lot of fun, and I think that it's really good to watch. I made sure to do my favorite chapter today, which is the first part of Soldiers of the Sea that we see when we're in the port walk, and it is absolutely, I love it. The revelation when people first see those horrible creatures is absolutely phenomenal. To this day, I still don't know how you are supposed to figure out who that person is at that point. Because if you recall, when we got to that page and it was revealed, his picture was already unblurred. I don't know how you figure that out. I have watched so many playthroughs, and I can only put it down to process of elimination. So if you have played this game yourself and you figured it out some other way, I would love to know, because I am just absolutely baffled. Some of the things that were the most striking to me that I wanted to pull up in this is Roderick Anderson, because he's walking next to Martin Parrott. That's how you can tell that he is his steward, and then the outfit there. The pipe on 57, that one is also absolutely key, and I'm going to make sure that we see it when we're coming in on Thursday. So we're going to watch that there, and you'll see why the pipe is important, and that's going to be good. There's a couple of other things, like there's some stuff in the bosun's room that will kind of help you figure out who that is. But, we already know, because he said Verdammt, and it's like, boom, got it, got the language, there you go. The other thing I want to point out is that, so there are characters from Formosa that we haven't heard any speak yet. So I picked the order that we did these in order to end it here. Like, I wanted to end at the end of a chapter, and that's why I went to Bitter Cold instead of one of the other available bodies. Like I said, I know this game really, really well, and I didn't want to start on a thread that we were going to have to cut loose. But so my other favorite part, when we get to the Formosans, they don't actually speak Chinese. They speak the Taiwanese language, which is dying out, not as much as some other languages, but it absolutely is. My friends that were from Taiwan, they only barely spoke it, and then only to their grandparents. And like their parents mostly had to translate for them because they just spoke Mandarin and they didn't speak Taiwanese anymore. So we are going to get to see some authentic Taiwanese, though if you don't know Mandarin, you're not going to recognize it as anything different. So thank you, Kerf. I told you I really love this game. It's so good. So, we're not going to tell anything different, but I did watch a Chinese American play it, and when the people from Taiwan were speaking, she was like, I don't understand anything that these people are saying. That's weird, because the Chinese dialogue was so good. It's like, why is it suddenly terrible? I think Cantonese is closer to Mandarin than either of them are to Taiwanese, but I'm not completely sure. But anyway, So I really love this game. Like I said, it was super well researched. The basically only inaccuracy is the fact that this ship would normally have, 120 people, and most of them would share hammocks, so there would be none of this hammock numbering kind of stuff going on. And that's it. Do you guys have any questions before I sign out for the night? Any comments aside from thanks, Brett and Ryan, for all of the amazing sound work? It was super cool, and the commercials added so much to the stream. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Who's awake? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, they would hot bunk, but I meant I meant that you wouldn't just be able to number them so easily like that and use that as identifiers. Hey, Mama. Here, you can have a treat too. Thank you so much. So, does anyone know someone who's live that I can raid? Because pretty much everyone I would raid is here right now, so. Yeah, thanks for coming, Atropa. I really appreciate it. And like everyone said, thank you so much for being a nurse. Like Bread, I've spent a lot of time. Is that someone to raid, Atropa? Oh, the Sprite PNG is still going. Yeah, I'll raid Sprite. Like Bread, I have spent a lot of time in hospitals, so I really, really, really appreciate all of the work that you do, even though it is in another country. It's very much appreciated, and we are all super thankful. So go ahead, and we're raiding Sprite. Tell them, give them your otter loves if you've got them, and tell them that it's been a mysterious mystery today in the stream. And I will see as many of you as possible Thursday, and if not, I'll have the VOD available in the Discord. Thanks, and I'll see you later.